Hello, good people. Welcome to the Kuhb Games YouTube channel. My name is Evan, and we play goats here. Today, we're getting into a dueling book replay against Toxyy, who recently got second place at the GGP in Atlanta. This person was running an interesting warrior list. We only have one Blade Knight in the main, only one Blade Knight in the 55 total. We have two Sasuke's in the main, one Mobius, one Magician of Faith, and one random Sinister Serpent. When I was going over the deck lists, of course, that popped out to me. There's no Sangan, there's no Raigeki Break, there's no Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, there's no Abyss Soldier, there's not even a Tribe Infecting Virus. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why this Sinister Serpent is there, but yeah, let's get into the games. So we start off with a pretty good hand here. We are going first. Obviously, we can just lead on Pot of Greed here. No reason not to. I believe I did actually have my opponent's deck list pulled up right next to me while we were playing. So kind of interesting. We do draw some more monsters here. Unfortunately, Blade Knight's a little clunky, but yeah, we just go ahead, set the ring, summon the Blade Knight. A lot of times I don't like to play out the Blade Knight first, especially when it's only going to be 1600, but I do have this ring to protect, and I don't want to just throw out the Sasuke. So, opponent starts on a duo, which, fantastic, everybody loves duo. They hit the BLS, which I'm kind of fine with right here. I'm just going to ditch the Mirror Force. So with the hand that I have, kind of being a little bit more proactive here. And that's why I summon the Blade Knight. So opponent's at 7,000. We already have a monster on the board. We have a Ring of Destruction that can deal more damage and also clear monsters off the board. And we have the Snatch Steel that could end up getting some pluses. And we also have, of course, two more monsters, Ninja Grandmaster being able to attack for a lot of damage at 1800. So we're really just wanting to be proactive here and get the opponent dead. So we get rid of the Mirror Force because that's the most reactive card, and we keep all of our proactive cards. So opponent's going to Rhoda, think for a little bit, grab a Blade Knight. So here's a play that I don't like. My opponent sets all of their back row and then summons the Blade Knight. I guess, like, it doesn't, like, I'm not going to torrential here, but if there was a chance that I had, like, a bottomless trap hole, or maybe I wanted to solemn this Blade Knight, knowing that my opponent doesn't have any other monsters, you just want to summon the Blade Knight first, and give your opponent as little information as possible. So I don't think that was correct sequencing, but I do let the Blade Knight go, of course. My opponent attacks in, and we're going to ring it up. We both lose 2,000, but again, I'm ahead in the exchange as far as life total goes because of the Delinquent Duo. I am a pro at this game, clearly, so I drew a Heavy Storm here. My opponent set everything. So I'm like, there has to be a Solemn Judgment, but that puts my opponent at 2,500. I have a Snatch Steel and this Ninja. They've got to deal with a whole lot of things here, and they would only be on 3 back row after that. So I'm like, cool. This is going to be good. Or I'm like, cool, this Heavy Storm's going to get countered, but it's not really that bad for me. My opponent just flips a Ring of Destruction. So my opponent's going to go to 3,400 and lose everything. Whereas I have a Sasuke and a Snatch Steel. Yes, please. So we look, my opponent actually set Book of Moon, Dust Tornado, Nobleman of Crossout. I'm not sure all of that was really worth attacking in with a Blade Knight when they could have just set the Ring of Destruction, or they could have booked my Blade Knight and gone for a 1-for-1 instead of a +1. So at that point, they didn't have a read on the back row, of course, because that was their first turn, and they hadn't played any cards into it. So I'm not really sure about that play, but we are looking great to win this game. I'm just going to attack in with the Sasuke. They're going to call back their Blade Knight. That's perfectly fine. I don't really care. I can just Exile Force this away, and my opponent's back on 0 cards, and I have a game-threatening monster on the board. along with a Snatch Steal. So if my opponent draws something like BLS that they can't even summon, uh, say they drew a Blade Knight off the top. We know our opponent's only playing one Blade Knight, so they couldn't. But say they did draw a Blade Knight off the top in a regular warrior build. They would be able to attack over the Sasuke. I just snatch it and win the game. If my opponent sets a back row, I can just keep attacking with the Sasuke. I have premature burial to bring back a Blade Knight, Sasuke, whatever I need to do. So I think from that position, the opponent's just basically never winning the game unless they draw all battle traps. And I think they have to specifically be battle. Well, they don't have to specifically be battle. Yes, they do. They have to specifically be battle traps. So put ourselves in a great position by professionally drawing the Heavy Storm. So that was nice there. But yeah, so we'll get into game 2 here. Right. So into game 2. We are up a game in the mirror, which always feels good. We're on the draw with an okay hand. Sasuke isn't the best, but it is 1800, so it gets over most things. And knowing that the opponent is only on one Blade Knight, which they draw, seems pretty cool. Opponent does just set 2. We do have 2 Dust Tornadoes, and we draw a Spy. So I'm probably thinking let's lead on Graceful Charity, because we could hit a Heavy Storm here, and if we hit Heavy Storm, then we want to Sasuke attack over the Blade Knight, and so then we get a +2 on the turn. Opponent's down to 3 cards. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. Breaker would also be decent here, though I probably wouldn't even run out the Breaker. I would probably play Spy over the Breaker, since we do have these 2 Dust Tornadoes to kind of clean up what's going on here. And we're not really expecting our opponent to have Nobleman in the deck at this point, especially given that I think that they are a good player since they got second at the GGP. So he actually draws a Borg, which is nice. It really plays well with the Spy here. Really plays well with Premature Burial. And we draw another back row removal, which is not really what I'm looking for. So I actually ditch both of the Dust Tornadoes. Reasoning for that, I believe, is I don't really want to blind into either of these. And my opponent only set 2 and summoned a Blade Knight. So it's very likely that I can draw one of those out. I'd be able to MST the other if I really want to. But I also have Premature Burial, so I can kind of fight through back row, no problem. This Blade Knight's not really posing a threat because I have a Spy. And I have a Ninja that can attack over it if need be, so I'm not super worried about the back row. I feel like I can play through that pretty well, and I still have an MST, so it's not like I got rid of all of my back row removal. So, think for a second. We play the Spy, set MST, set Book of Moon, and pass. And I think this is a perfectly fine turn. Opponent summons a Kaiku. That's fine. They just attack into the Spy with the 1600 Blade Knight. We get another Spy, so now this is a board can actually kind of go crazy. Opponent sets another back row. Now we get to utilize the MST, so we're not just throwing off a blind one. We can get something that the opponent set this turn. And we get the Mirror Force. Now we draw a Breaker, which is interesting. Breaker can actually just attack over the Kaiku if we really want to, but opponent is showing Dark Light. So maybe we don't actually want to do that. We play Breaker and opponent just immediately Torrentials. So this tells me, okay, there's a BLS in hand. And like it's actually kind of like a 3-for-2. We actually come out a little bit ahead in that exchange because the second Spy was just a free monster. So really like that. Not really any problem with playing the Breaker there into a potential Torrential. So we end up a card there. We're still up a card in the sequence. So yeah, opponent just going ahead and throwing out the BLS. Of course, this was expected. You don't Torrential that board just because of the Breaker if you don't have the BLS there, I think. So here I'm going to take the 3000, and I believe I'm going to take the 1800 as well. I think I have 3. Yeah, I have 3 monsters in the graveyard. I remember going over this play in my head. I'm like, uh-oh, I have to book the Kaiku because I need this Premature Burial to go off. But I have 2 monsters in the graveyard, so not really a big deal here. You will see my opponent's back row is actually Compulse here. So, and they don't banish the Breaker, which I understand that play. So we are going to Premature Burial back the Breaker. They think which makes me think that they have a judgment set. Here, the breaker comes out. They have the chance to compulse here if they want to, but then I just get my breaker back in hand. And I don't think that's really a winning line for them, so they let it go. We sack up the breaker for a Zaborg. Of course, they're going to solemn. And that is going to be game 2. We just died there. Unfortunately, we were able to hit the card advantage there, but it just wasn't enough to carry us over the line against the BLS, and I'm not really sure that we were supposed to play around like a torrential into BLS line there, especially since we had the Zaborg with a premature burial, so I kind of had an out to it. So I think I'm perfectly okay with how that was played. Though if you think differently, of course, let me know. I like these sort of replays, analyses of matches, because it does help to find some misplays, and some game plan errors where you can just improve. And I like that a lot. So game 3 we will get into. All right, we've got game 3. Let's see if we can close out this match against toxyy. This hand is not the best. DD Warrior Lady helps out a little bit with giving us a light to go with this Chaos Sorcerer. So, and it also gives us like a good turn 1 play without having to overcommit. I do think setting the Judgment here is a little bit overcommittal. I generally don't make that play when I have the DD Warrior Lady. Since DD Warrior Lady is a trap itself by being able to remove a monster, I don't feel the need to set 2 necessarily, because I don't want to protect this. I don't want to protect this Dust Tornado with the Solemn here. So I think I'm already protected by the DD Warrior Lady. I think I probably should have just set the Dust Tornado and passed. So a slight misstep on turn 1, I think. I don't think it's like the biggest mistake in the world. But, you know, if the opponent has Heavy Storm, you do miss out on some value there because you're going to get -1. You're not going to... Sometimes I do flip the Judgment. It just kind of... It's very game context dependent, because I want to give an idea of this other back row actually matters. In this case, if my opponent had just led on Heavy, I would have just let the back row go. But we do draw out an Exiled Force, which is pretty nice. We're going to throw off this Dust Tornado. We hit a Saku, which is fine. We draw another Judgment. And here we actually get Trap Dust Shooted, which I thought was a little weird. I don't think that this card should necessarily be in the deck. I guess the opponent did see Zaborg and Spy, and that's a reason to bring it back in. But I still don't know about that, even on the draw. Or especially on the draw. Maybe you can make that choice on the play. I know I've seen like AJT, BLS, and a couple others have elected to bring in the Trap Dust Shoot on the play. Just because it is such an impactful card. Gives you so much information, takes a card out of the opponent's hand, and you can kind of just decide how you're going to do things. But on the draw, I'm not sure if that makes a whole lot of sense, even if you saw the Zaborg and the Spies, because you should be expecting Spies from your opponent anyway, and generally you should be expecting Mobius as well in the mirror. So my opponent takes Exiled Force, which I'm okay with. I don't have a target for it anyway, and yeah, I'm just going to summon this Tribe and start attacking. The reasoning for this is I have 2 Solemn Judgments down, so my life total is going to be hurt a little bit as it is. So I just want to start getting aggressive here, pressuring the opponent, especially with a dead card in hand. So with this Chaos Sorcerer in hand, we're effectively down a card until we draw a Dark. So yeah, you'll see opponent set a monster and pass, and a back row. We draw Mobius, which is just awesome. I am going to go ahead and throw it out, especially with double Solemn Judgment. Just check to make sure everything's good. We throw out the Mobius. Opponent has a think here. They do have a Solemn Judgment, and the other one, of course, we see another Trap Dust Shoot, but here my opponent loses 3,200 life points, and I'm like, yes, I have a Judgment. This is great. Unfortunately, we're going to lose the Mobius. But we are up a card here. Are we actually up a card? No, we went first, so we're actually even still. As far as the turns go, but I'm actually going to Solemn this Kaiku here, I think, because I have the Chaos Sorcerer in hand. I really don't want that to happen. Obviously, we're dead to a Blade Knight, but the opponent only has one in their deck. They haven't seen it yet. We draw probably the best draw in the deck. We draw a Spy. I'm just going to set it. Even though we saw the Dust Shoot, I don't expect my opponent to have Knock in the deck still. This is a dark for Chaos Sorcerer. Unfortunately, my opponent does draw a second Kaiku, so they left in both Kaikus, which I also don't agree with, especially since they didn't see the Chaos Sorcerer game 2, but we are going to wall up for a bit, go and get a second Spy. Obviously, Kaiku's annoying with the Chaos Sorcerer. I can't just crash a Spy and then summon the Sork, but that's fine. We draw Dust Tornado, which is dead for now, kind of putting my opponent on BLS in hand. So if they draw light, it's not great, but it's likely that they can't get over these Spies with light unless it's Sasuke, of course, and they do draw a Rhoda. So not feeling great here, obviously, because my trap is a Dust Tornado, and they can get over one of these Spies, and they have a Kaiku on the board to stop the Chaos Sorcerer. So opponent gives it a big think, I guess, to play around maybe Torrential, but I'm certainly not going to Torrential in that spot anyway. And I think if this is BLS as the last card in hand, it's not. It's apparently actually Snatch Steal. If it is BLS in hand, you certainly summon out the Sasuke, and if I Torrential Tribute from there, then you just have game. Then you can get into the whole, do I play around Mirror Force, stuff like that. But my opponent makes a very odd play here. They're going to snatch the Spy right now. I don't think there's any reason at all to do that. It's just going to give me an extra 1,000 life points. You just don't... I guess they want to play around Monarch, because the Monarch would be just ridiculous here. But even like if I have the Monarch, I can still sack the Spy. Well, I guess it would be lethal because they know about the Chaos Sorcerer, right? Okay, so it seemed like a big blunder to me to Snatch Steal the Spy here in real time, but now that I'm thinking about it, they're playing around like exactly Zaborg into Chaos Sorcerer. Would that be lethal? Sack the Spy off, kill this, attack 600. No, they would go to 100, so they would still live, but they would be in a terrible position, I suppose. Whereas if I don't draw something to deal with Snatch Steal or one of these, then I just lose the game. So I guess there was more of a thought that maybe this play was correct, but I'm certainly not sold on it. Because they have this Sasuke, they know my only card in hand is Chaos Sorcerer, they pretty much know I don't have a Battle Trap, because I definitely would have killed the Sasuke there. So I still feel like you're not supposed to snatch here, but in my mind I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll gain 1,000 life points. I have this Dust Tornado for the Snatch Steal, and we draw a Graceful Charity. Once again, just absolute professional at Goat format. We throw off the Graceful, and we draw Breaker. Just, the best. So yeah, we're going to get rid of the Torrential and the Rhoda. We're going to play the Breaker, attack over this Kaiku. Which leaves my opponent with just 2 Darks and an Earth in the graveyard. Yeah, opponent's saying rip. Yeah, it was quite a draw there. And then we get to save our Dust Tornado. If our opponent plays a back row here, we're just gonna kill the Snatch Steal, get back Spy. So now we have defense. We're gonna play the Chaos Sorcerer while we can, so my opponent can't put a light in the yard, and we're gonna banish that. And now we're feeling really, really good, of course. And my opponent didn't draw anything that could deal with the board. No Dark Hole, no Raigeki in this format. Should have been better and made the Banlist yourself opponent. But yeah, that's us playing against the person that got second at GGP Atlanta. Hope you all enjoyed. We'll be back with the next video.